Don't draft the name, draft the price. Today we're talking about fantasy football busts. First I'm gonna explain what a bust is, then I'm gonna give you a lot of examples. 14 fantasy football busts. Now when I say bust, I mean a bust at their ADP or average draft position, which is basically the cost you're paying on draft day. If a player is going in the 3rd round, but I project them to have 5th round production, that's called a value trap. But if they slide a couple rounds, I could be in. It's really about price versus payout, not talent. You got anything, Jeffrey?
And for every fade, I'll give you one pivot in the same pocket.
Thanks. I think that would be really helpful for the people. Not just who am I fading, but who would I take instead? I like that, Jeffrey. We'll keep you around. Without further ado, let's get it started. We're starting with wide receiver. Bring up the first one, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
Don't draft McConkey in the 2nd round. That's too rich for my blood. This team identity wants to be to run the ball. That's why they drafted Amari Hampton in the 1st round. They want to pound the rock. Last year, they weren't as successful running the ball. Yeah, they had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, but are we sitting up here acting like they're in the same class as the 1st round running back? They also brought in some receivers. They drafted Trey Harris in the 2nd round. They brought back Keenan Allen and they're paying him like $8 million this year. He already has a connection with Justin Herbert. It's not like they got to figure out how to work together. Plus, Ladd and Keenan do very similar things. And Keenan's gonna be open on 3rd down when you need a first. Going to your reliable man. I do think that this could be good for Ladd McConkey long term because I think Keenan Allen actually teaches him a lot about route running, getting open. But for this year, in the 2nd round, nah, I'm good. It's too rich for my blood. Jeffrey, who could you substitute him out with? Preferably after him.
If you want juice there, Tyreek Hill in the 3rd.
Tyreek Hill is explosive, and he does have #1 wide receiver upside. I would say his upside's definitely higher than Ladd McConkey, that's for sure. All right, next up. Don't draft Garrett Wilson in the 3rd round. That's just too high for me. You're gonna have bad quarterback play in Justin Fields, barely completing passes in the preseason. I expect that offense to be bad. I do expect him to get a lion's share of the targets, so you're really focusing on targets for this one. And I do think those targets will be there. And I think the receptions will be there too. The problem is the touchdowns. You drafted somebody in the 3rd round, you want some upside. And I don't feel like the upside for the touchdowns are there. It's not like he has a history of dominating touchdowns. Let's look at his receiving touchdowns. Last year, career high with Aaron Rodgers, 7. Years before that, 3, 4. I'm not worried about the targets. The targets are gonna be there. 154 last year, 168 the year before that, 147 the year before that. I'm not worried about the targets. I'm worried about the touchdowns. The offense is gonna be bad. And in the 3rd round, he's a guaranteed starter on your team. Your wide receiver 1 or 2. I got him more as a flex play. That's wide receiver 2 upside. On those weeks he scores touchdown. Jeffrey, who would be a good alternative?
Consider Marvin Harrison Jr. next round.
I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's actually got some breakout potential. He's also going to be the #1. I like his quarterback. I think the offense gets better this year. That's a great pick, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
All right, who we got next? Don't draft Zay Flowers in the 5th round. He's a talented player, but that ADP is too high. He's not involved enough for that. Jeffrey, can you bring up the grading system, please?
Yes, sir.
He's not getting the targets. C+ in targets in back-to-back years, which is leading to his receptions being mid to low. And we're talking PPR. Receptions are important. You know what's also important? Touchdowns. D+ in touchdowns last year, C in touchdowns the year before that. And it doesn't get any better in the red zone. D+ in targets in the red zone. D in red zone receptions. D+ in red zone touchdowns. End zone, that's 5 yards and in. It's almost just as bad. C- in end zone targets. D+ in end zone touchdowns. When they get in close, they're not looking at Zay Flowers. Probably because they got Derrick Henry. And what does that mean for Zay Flowers' fantasy value? Meh. He's C+ in fantasy points. Standard, half point, full point, C+ across the board. I'm not drafting a C+ player in the 5th round. It's too high. Jeffrey, what's a good alternative for Zay Flowers?
Teteroa McMillan in the 6th.
I don't disagree with that. I think the upside is there with Teteroa McMillan. #1 wide receiver on a team that I think is going to need to throw the ball. He's going to be the #1 target. You drafted him high, so you know you're going to him. That's a good one, Jeffrey. I got a confession to make. I drafted one of these busts in my home league, in my draft. I'll tell you why at the end of the video. Don't draft DJ Moore in the 5th round. The top of the 5th round at that. It's not about talent. It's about the price. First, the market share. Roma Doomsday should take a step forward this year in his sophomore year. The team drafted Luther Burden in the top of the 2nd round. They drafted Colston Loveland at the 10th pick. Not to mention they're going to want to run the ball with DeAndre Swift. And all of this is going to come down to, is Caleb Williams going to take that step forward? And will he be able to produce? Because, yeah, I do think that DJ Moore is going to get a decent amount of targets, but I think it's going to be like this. I don't think you're going to be able to consistently rely on him. And that's going to be really, really frustrating. And I don't want to deal with that frustration if I don't have to. In the 5th round, that's too much. Too much. All right, Jeffrey, who would a good alternative for DJ Moore be?
Try Jameson Williams in the 6th.
That's a good point. Jamison Williams going in the 6th round, a full round later, explosive athlete. I think that he takes a step forward, and you're saving a round. Not bad, Jeffrey. Next up, don't draft Jordan Addison in the top of the 8th round. It's too high. This one really isn't just about talent. It's also about opportunity and situation. He's getting suspended for 3 games, so you know you're missing him to start the year for those 3 games. Fine. But even when he comes back, he's got a lot of competition. Best wide receiver in football, Justin Jefferson's going to be soaking up a bunch of targets. TJ Hawkinson's coming into the year healthy, unlike last year. They just traded for Adam Thielen. I'm not saying Adam Thielen's going to come in and completely take the role or anything crazy like that. They did trade a 2026 5th and a 2027 4th. That's a decent amount of draft capital to give up for a player you're not going to play at all. So Adam Thielen's getting in there. And it's going to be just enough to take away from Jordan Addison. Not to mention, Jordan Addison is kind of touchdown dependent. Jeffrey, can you bring up Addison's grading system, please?
Yes, sir.
He's a C in targets for the back-to-back years. C plus in receptions. I think he had 70 and 63. And yards, mid. It's the touchdowns. He's had 9 and 10 touchdowns in the last 2 years. They are using basically a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. And I really like this calculation. This calculation basically says PPR, but what would players be ranked if you took away everyone's touchdowns? How would they stack up? He's a C plus, average, without taking touchdowns into account. If you add the touchdowns, he's a B, but you're gonna have to get those touchdowns. So now we gotta rely on getting touchdowns from a basically rookie quarterback on an offense with the best wide receiver in the league, one top 5 tight end, and a Sly veteran that used to play on this team. And they paid a decent amount to get for him. A 4th and a 5th ain't nothing in football. Plus you're missing 3 games. And you gotta get him in the 8th. The top of the 8th at that. Will he be useful? Yes. Will he go like this? Absolutely. Also, just realized my light's not on. That's much better. Jeffrey, who's a solid alternative for Jordan Addison?
Pivot to Emeka Egbuka later in the 8 to 9 range.
I completely agree with that. I love Emeka Egbuka. I think he's going to be valuable all year long, even when Chris Godwin gets back. And I don't think he's going to be touchdown dependent. Good pick, Jeffrey. Don't draft Jayden Reed in the 10th round. Top of the 10th at that. I'm going to let somebody else buy the injury dip on this one. Currently dealing with a Jones fracture. I'm not excited because I think he's going to try to power through it. Normally you get a screw in your foot for that one. But it's not just the injury that I don't like about Jayden Reed. He's already super inconsistent, and his receiving core is already super crowded. You got rookie first rounder Matthew Golden to compete with. Romeo Doubs is not going anywhere. Christian Watson will be back eventually. The team drafted Sevion Williams in the 3rd round. He's gonna get used. And I feel like we're missing another one. Oh yeah, Dontavian Wicks is still there. Plus everybody loves Tucker Kraft as their sleeper tight end. Not to mention they're gonna wanna run the ball with Josh Jacobs. At best, he stays healthy and he's up and down. Not to mention the fact that Micah Parsons just went to the Green Bay Packers. Now their defense is elite. They're not gonna need to throw it as much because they're gonna be up in games. They're gonna get to run out the clock. All that being said, I'm hands off on Jayden Reed. I'm gonna let somebody else draft him. This is great for Jordan Love with all these weapons, just not great for Jayden Reed. Jeffrey, who's a good alternative for Jayden Reed?
Go Ricky Pearsall around 9 to 10.
I agree. Ricky Pearsall should be the number 1, at least until Juwan Jennings gets back. Whether that injury is real or not, Plus, Brandon Aiyuk should be out for a while. And when he gets back, he's going to take a while to ramp up. I like that pick. Ricky Pearsall. Speaking of 49ers, don't draft Brandon Aiyuk in the 12th round. Too many red flags. He's coming off of a major injury. He tore his ACL in week 7 last year. And it wasn't just an ACL. It was an ACL and an MCL. He's on the PUP list, but that means he's guaranteed to miss 4 games. He could miss more than that. And he's probably going to be slow to ramp up. I do not think he's worth the risk. He won't be on my draft board. What's a good alternative for Brandon Aiyuk?
Try Keenan Allen in the 12th.
I absolutely love that. People are still sleeping on Keenan Allen, which is wild to me. Love Keenan in the 12th, 13th, 14th. Grab him where you can. 12th sounds good to me. All right, Jeffrey, that's enough with the wide receivers. Let's move on to running backs. Don't draft James Cook in the 3rd round. That's too high to draft somebody who's obviously going to regress in touchdowns by a lot. Jeffrey, can you bring up his grades, please? Specifically looking at opportunities and touchdowns and whatnot. Total opportunities, C+. Total yards, B-, that's solid. But this is really where the moneymaker is. Total touchdowns, A+. Let's rewind a couple years. 2022, he was a D in touchdowns. He had 3 total touchdowns. In 2023, he was a C-. He had 6 touchdowns. All right, a little less than average. Last year, he had 18 total touchdowns, 16 on the ground. He literally tripled his total for touchdowns. And not to mention rushing touchdowns from 2 to 16. One of these things is not like the other. It's the touchdowns. I think that goes down pretty substantially. I wouldn't be surprised if cut in half from 18 to 9, that's still a good touchdown season, especially for him. That would have been a previous career high. The team's proven that they want to use Ray Davis and Ty Johnson in this offense as well. And I'm not saying that if he doesn't score a bunch of touchdowns that he's gonna just be garbage. But if you look at this chart, with the touchdowns, he was a B+. If you remove touchdowns from everybody and see how they stack up, he was a B-. I'm not drafting a B- in the 3rd round. I think those touchdowns go down, and a 3rd is too high of a pick. Jeffrey, who would be a good alternative for James Cook?
Grab Amari and Hampton in the 4th.
That I actually really like. Amari and Hampton in the 4th, good value, good upside, great offense. He should be the clear guy. Yeah, I like that. Definitely better. You get a round discount and you get a young running back with upside. Yes, please. All right, Jeffrey, next up. Don't draft Breece Hall in the 3rd round. This price is assuming he is going to be the bell cow running back, and I don't see it like that. I think both Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis are going to get involved. Now, is he going to be the lead dog? I do think that Breece will be the lead dog, and he will still catch balls. But a 3rd round pick, you are relying heavily on. And I would prefer him not to be a running back 1, running back 2. He's more of a flex play for me. I'm also concerned about that offense. Same thing that goes for Garrett Wilson also goes for Breece Hall. Except worse. Yeah, I've been hearing Justin Fields dumps it down, but he's still not a good quarterback. Which means I don't think they're going to be in the red zone a lot. And if you're not in the red zone, Breece is going to have to break away to get these touchdowns. So I'm concerned about the offense, I'm concerned about the workload, and I'm concerned about the draft costs. And with that, I'm out. You know what? I want to show you all these carry grades. Jeffrey, bring up the grading system. He has never been higher than a C+ in carries. So he already isn't getting fed a bunch, contrary to what people keep telling me. Rushing yards been decreasing every year. B, B-, C+. Same with rushing yards per attempt. A+, C+, C-. And he picked up fumbling last year. And his rushing touchdowns aren't good. C, C. And his end zone carries, meh. 2 years ago, F, D. Aaron Rodgers gets in town, C. I don't think that Justin Fields is going to move the ball better than Aaron Rodgers did. And even if he does, he's probably going to be in this C range. You're really banking on the targets being there. That's what you're drafting Breece Hall for. You need targets, and a bunch of them. Could that happen? Yeah, Justin Fields can dump the ball down to Breece Hall. But without those touchdowns, I do not think he is going to come back with round 3 value. Round 3 is high for a running back I don't trust to get a bunch of touchdowns. And for that, I'm out. Jeffrey, who could you substitute him with?
James Conner in the early 4th is cleaner.
On that, we agree. I like James Conner. I think the offense is going to be better. I think he's going to get more of a role. And they're both going to catch the ball. Yeah, give me James Conner over Breece Hall. All right, who's next? Don't draft Kenneth Walker in the 4th round. First off, there's a whole new offense. New quarterback in Sam Darnold. You got the same JSN, but the receiving core is different. Say bye-bye to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, bringing in Cooper Kupp. I don't think all that changes him a lot. What does change it, they brought in a new offensive coordinator. And though Kenneth Walker is a very talented, explosive running back, I have heard rumblings of them limiting him to keep him healthy. That might mean more Zach Charbonnet. And why they're doing that is Kenneth Walker has never played more than 15 games in a season. 15, 11. That's how many games he plays. They want to keep him on the field, which means they'll probably use him less. And if they use him less, he's not going to be a bell cow on an offense that I am very questionable about. I do not really like this offense. I don't think that they're going to be winning a lot of games and running out clock. Defense should be solid, though. All right, Jeffrey, who could be a nice alternative for Kenneth Walker?
Take Trevion Henderson in the 5th.
Ooh, I like that one. An explosive rookie coming in, basically doing what Kenneth Walker does? I like that. And I think he's explosive. That's a really good 1-for-1, Jeffrey. Good job.
Yes, sir.
Don't draft Joe Mixon in the top of the 7th round. That's too much. We don't know enough about his situation. He's currently on the NFI, which is non-football injury list. So he's out for 4 games. Interesting that he's on the NFI and not the IR, the injured reserve. Something weird is happening in this situation and I don't like it. I also don't like that people are talking about it like he may come back. Like, what? What's really going on? All I know is he has a pedal foot injury and it's unspecified. It happened before training camp and he's still not on the field yet. I do not like that. And in the 7th, even if you can put him in the IR, waiting around 4 weeks for a player that could or could not be back, I don't know. I'm not really into buying the player dip for injuries. Not like this. This is weird. Who would be a good substitute in the 7th, Jeffrey?
Pivot to Tony Pollard in that exact pocket.
That I do like. Tony Pollard's a solid pick this year, especially with Tajay Spears being out on IR. Great pick, Jeffrey. Well, let's move over to the quarterbacks. Don't draft Jared Goff in the top of the 8th round. I just think that's too high for him. This is the middle rounds for the quarterbacks, and I'm really just not feeling it. He doesn't run. He has a new offensive coordinator. I do like the weapons, but they could easily run it in more than they're passing it in, and he's not going to be running very much. So I think it's going to be inconsistent and frustrating. And the 8th round is just too high to pay for that. There's plenty of quarterbacks going after him that I think are personally better. Jeffrey, who's a good alternative for Jared Goff in the 8th?
Pivot to Kyler Murray in the same pocket.
Exactly. Pivot to a quarterback that's going to run the ball in what I believe will also be an explosive offense with solid weapons. I also think you have higher upside. And I think Kyler runs more this year. Next up, don't draft Brock Purdy in the 10th round. I don't think he has a lot in terms of receiving options. Yeah, he has CMC, and CMC will catch the ball, but receiving options in the sense of wide receivers, George Kittle, who I really like. Ricky Pearsall, young receiver, number 1, drafted in the 1st. And Jawan Jennings. I think that's okay. It's not elite, but it's okay. Jeffrey, I'm sure you could give me somebody better, though. Who we got in that same range that I would take over Brock Purdy?
Go Dak Prescott around the 10th instead.
Ooh, I like that one. Dak Prescott about to be slinging it. That defense is going to be trash. And he's got much better receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Yeah, give me Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy all day. Don't draft CJ Stroud in the 11th round. He's not going to run the ball, hasn't run for 250 yards in his career. His receiving core is solid. Love me some Nico Collins. And then he's got some good question marks. Christian Kirk, Jayden Higgins. But what really scares me is that offensive line. They have the worst offensive line in the league. That's terrible. He's going to be watching his back left and right. Hits. Kind of hard to throw when you're getting harassed by the defensive line. And the guy I want you to replace it with has a lot of upside as a fantasy quarterback. Fantasy quarterback. Who's that again, Jeffrey?
Try Justin Fields in the double-digit rounds.
Yeah, Justin Fields is going to run. Unlike CJ Stroud, Justin Fields is going to run the ball. He might run for 1,000 yards this year because that offense is not going to move with him passing. So it's going to probably need to be him running it. And though I don't like Justin Fields for NFL football. For fantasy football, oh, I think he's gonna be really good. He's going to run for almost 1,000 yards. And he may not throw for a lot of touchdowns, but he will throw for some. And he'll probably rush in a couple. That's just more shade for Breece Hall. Sorry, Breece. But he's a great replacement for CJ Stroud. Way higher upside. So those are my bust picks. Which one do you think I drafted in my personal league? Drum roll, please. Garrett Wilson. I know. I just waxed poetically about why I do not like him in fantasy football. But let's check out the situation and how it went down. Jeffrey, bring up my draft, please.
Yes, sir.
I started the draft off with Jamar Chase and Drake London. 2 elite wide receivers. I got them both in my top 10, and I know they're gonna get a lot of targets. So wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, set. I'm good. My 3rd and 4th pick were Kyren Williams and James Conner. Solidified my backfield, so my wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, set. Running back 1, running back 2, set. I'm now looking at flex plays. Now, full transparency, Joe Burrow was taking a pick before mine on the 4-5 turn, or I would have gone James Conner, Joe Burrow with a 6 stack, Burrow and Chase, but they couldn't let me have that. So now I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Well, looking on the board, Courtland Sutton was there, but I have him in a lower tier. I've already talked about why I'm not confident in DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift also in a situation I'm not too excited about. And then Isaiah Pacheco, I think it was a little high for him. Those were the 4 picks after mine. In my opinion, Garrett Wilson is not worth a 3rd round pick, but he is worth a 5th. I hemmed and hawed while I had to do it, and I was upset about it. But he's gonna get 150 to 165 targets as a flex. My flex play. He's not gonna get a bunch of touchdowns, but as a flex, I want you not to bust. There's different expectations when it comes to different parts of your roster. My starters, I want to be consistently good with crazy upside. That's Jamar Chase and Drake London. But as a flex, Garrett Wilson's gonna get me 12 PPR points a game with the upside of getting you 20 to 24. So it's not that I hate Garrett Wilson. It's that people are drafting him to be their wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 when I look at him as a flex play. At a flex, I'm not excited about it, but I'm fine with it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Side note, I know there's gonna be a bunch of drafts this weekend. I've updated my website. Go check it out down below. It'll be in the description. Got updated rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, absolutely hit me up. I also have a Discord that I just made. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I've never done a Discord before. So I had somebody set it up, and it should be pretty cool. He's still working some stuff on the back end, but you can go ahead and join. We can chat it up. I have some areas for trades and dynasty redraft. I'm trying to get some news pulled in there. Should be pretty fun. Go check it out. So that's gonna do it for this one. Check out my links below. If you have any questions, hit me up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell down below. It's draft season and it's about to be football season. Let's go! I cannot wait until the season gets here. I'm gonna start doing some game predictions soon. Get my futures in order. Get my over-unders in order. So if you're interested in just football in general, I'll be coming out with some content about that soon. And yeah, good luck in your draft. Let me know if you need me. I'll talk to you soon, Bay Nation. Peace.